Attention carriers, brokers, and dispatchers. You're tuned into the eCarrierCheck channel, where we bring you the insider tips, tricks, and insights to drive your sales and logistics business to new heights. Each week, your hosts, Jared and Nate, sit down with the top professionals in the industry, diving deep into everything from prospecting and cold calling to maintaining carrier relationships and maximizing your bottom line. Learn real-world strategies, hear success stories, and get actionable advice you can implement in your business today. So buckle up and get ready for an entertaining and informative ride. This is the eCarrierCheck channel, your source for can't-miss logistics intelligence. Stay tuned.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to the eCarrierCheck show. Excited to talk today. We're going to be chatting about sales, type pipeline stuff. Honestly, a lot of the things that we talk about on the show are just questions that we're getting weekly, daily. And so, we're just chatting on the pipeline, and we're going to chat on how to run a pipeline in today's environment.
Yeah.
Right. Not 2005, not 1999. Gabe is on. What's up, brother? What's going on, man? It's good to see you. How's your week? How's your pipeline, man? Tell us, give us three secret sauces right off the top here. You know what I mean? We're not even 2 minutes in. I want friggin' sauce from Gabe.
Yeah, I do. This guy I was texting him yesterday. I was like, he is very advanced. Just how quickly he has grown.
Yep.
He has no prior experience in this industry, but he's like, he knows he's got to pick up the phone, and that's how he grew, was picking up the phone. But what I love about this industry is no matter if you're a dispatcher, carrier, freight broker, everyone should have a pipeline. And you may not really understand that or maybe feel like you need one, but I think it is important. Yesterday, or what's today, Wednesday, I was talking to Jerome. He's usually on the show too. And, I sent him just a list of brokers. And I said, add them to your pipeline, start calling them.
Yeah.
These guys do hazmat. Maybe these guys do flatbeds. Like, put them in your pipeline and know who you can call when you're in those areas or about to be in those areas. So I hope it's going well. I don't know if he's here today. Pipeline is full.
328 leads, 13 loads on the board so far for July. Or loads on it. Yeah. Nice job, man.
Holy cow.
This cat's like doubling up every month.
That's crazy.
Like when we first met Gabe, he was like 3 loads in.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, he was just trying to, he was trying to get over that hump with cold calls too. So then, like I said, he just kept doing it, and then it's crazy to see where he's at, but that's cool. I love it. We met with that brokerage yesterday too on pipeline stuff. So that's really why we're kind of talking, because pipelines are super important. They're easy to lose track of. If you're like us, we like Excel sheets, and I'm sure Gabe, you guys probably have a CRM. They probably have a CRM.
People do.
But if you're like Jared and I, we like Excel sheets. The important thing though with Excel sheets, you have to remember to go in there and update. You have to go in there and move these leads around, right? I think that is the hardest part. If you don't have a CRM that does it for you,
right?
Where you can go in there and type and it just moves it.
Yeah.
You got to hold yourself accountable big time.
Absolutely.
You're running a pipeline.
Absolutely. I think having today's technology is wildly important.
It is,
CRM, but honestly, you don't necessarily need to get crazy. As long as you're good at updating, as long as you're good at consistently showing up and making the calls. I think that's where most people struggle with it. Is it just the consistency of the actual pipeline? You know what I mean?
And the way we're going to show today is you might need to put reminders on your phone. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You called Michelle in shipping yesterday. Well, Michelle said call back in 2 weeks. Like, how do you remind yourself of that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was a huge fan of, a couple things that I would do prior to having a CRM, or not even having a CRM for quite a few years, is I would just constantly be setting meetings when I was supposed to be calling them back.
Okay.
So right in my email, I was setting meetings. I would get in, oh, it's 9 o'clock. I need to call this guy.
Right.
Oh, it's 10 o'clock. I need to call this guy.
Yeah.
And if you work your pipeline hard enough and long enough, honestly, by day 30, 45, you should have a pretty repetitive call list. Not the same people, just of people coming in and out of your pipeline going, oh, I need to follow up with this guy.
Okay.
Because we just forget.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're humans. We forget. We got a lot going on.
For sure.
You know, you're thinking about just everything that's kind of going on. You know what I mean? And so, you know, in some particular cases, you know, the people that we talk to too, you know, Gabe has an interesting advantage because he is purely sales, right? Where a lot of the people that we talk to are soup to nuts. They go from cradle to grave. They find the friggin' clients. They find the trucks. They book the loads. They move the loads. They track and trace. They do all this stuff. And in somehow or another, they need to go, oh, shit, I need to make a couple minutes just to do this, right? And it's tough to just stay on task and to a certain extent. I would say that this industry struggles with staying on task. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. What's up, Jerome? I was just talking about you, brother. How did that freight broker list go, man? Did you find any hazmat loads? Let's see what Gabe said here. 3 things for pipeline. I move on after 6 cold calls. I like that. Secondly, if the shipper has multiple shipping points, I call every single location. Love that.
I do too.
Lastly, CRM is Salesforce, and it is a lifesaver. Okay.
You know what I love on this one too, Gabe, is that, you know, he says I move on after 6 cold calls. There's got to be a number, but it's not number 1.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And the fact that he has it set in stone, like, hey, I'm going to try to get in touch with this guy 6 times. If I don't after 6, then we got to go, is a great number.
Okay.
Because you never know what their schedules are. You don't know what's going on in their life, in their work, in their, you know, all kinds of stuff. And so 6 is a good number. I love that he laid this out.
Yeah. Still sending emails. Heck yeah, man. Yeah, pick up that phone too, brother. Let me know if we can help you. We can call some brokers and see what that looks like.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you know, we got a comment this morning on. I thought this was kind of interesting. I was just going to read it real quick. And he talks about. Give me 1 sec. I had it up, and then my phone just kind of shut down. He says, you know, pipeline structure equals conversion rates / period. Those focused prospecting blocks. Game changer. Proper lead qualification saves so much wasted time in freight sales. Here's a part that I think is wildly important. As you're setting up your pipeline, like, who's worth your time? You know what I mean? We can call. Do you remember the guy? And I loved this guy. I don't know if he's still on here or not. The guy that he was calling like 80 people a day. He would start at 6 in the morning, calling East Coast, and he worked until like 6 at night, all the way to West Coast. And he was calling the Cheesecake Factory.
Oh, yeah.
Is there freight there? Sure. But are you putting your ladder on the wrong house? You know what I mean? And so I think this is why I love eCarrierCheck, is that we show you really interesting qualified leads that are fairly deep, right? But also that give you a little bit of a talking point or a niche point to be able to kind of hone in on the actual sales call itself. You know, if you can get a lead, buy equipment in a certain region, boy, that makes life a little more interesting, right? If you're just calling this huge Megatron and you have no idea that they have 86 locations across the nation, I mean, you're working your way down an escalator that's going up,
right? And
that's a difficult thing. And which, by the way, I actually seen this. If you've ever been to the Atlanta airport, the Atlanta airport's the biggest friggin' airport in the world. It's got to be like 6 football fields long.
Okay.
And they have an escalator. I'm not kidding. It's got to be 4 or 5 stories tall.
Okay.
I'm not kidding. I've seen somebody try to go down one of those in the reverse way. Impossible task. It's no different than with your pipeline. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so if you can go at this in a niche market, the way things are right now, it's very loud, it's very noisy for shippers. It allows you to have a better conversation to start.
Yeah, I like that. Well, let's do this. I enjoy the Atlanta Atlanta airport.
Oh, you should see that.
I wonder if they're making a YouTube video. They're just bored. Either way, let's do this. Let's start here. Is there anyone on here that is struggling to even build like a pipeline to what it looks like? You know what I mean? Like, don't overthink it. I had Ryan Holiday. He's a broker for NTC. He sent me this good example of what he did, and he added to it. And I encourage people to add to it because you can really help yourself just kind of understand that company a little bit more, especially when it comes to talking points. So here's an example of a spreadsheet that he sent me. Like I said, he's added to this. He added multiple tabs from, you could throw your leads into like a warm lead to a cold lead, you know, things like that. So here's just a brief kind of a basic pipeline.
Yeah, for people that don't have access to a CRM or that are just needing to keep track of things, this is a perfect start.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And Jared, you mentioned some few things too when we were looking at this yesterday, things that you would add. You know, you said you would add, you know, like lanes or equipment, or what was the other one you said you'd add?
Yeah, like I personally, I'd put like touches.
Touches. Okay.
You know, how many times have you reached out? There's previous action on here.
Right.
But like Gabe said, you know, he moves on after 6.
Right.
I'm a big fan of kind of dates or, you know, just so that, you know, what's the previous action? Well, when was the last time you followed up with them? And this way you can kind of keep your calendar flowing with this. When I honestly started, I didn't have a CRM. CRMs were just kind of coming out and they were really clunky at that time. And so for those of you like Gabe, who is probably half of my age, he just was born with the CRM in his mouth. Silver spoon sort of thing. Yeah, I'm just kidding. But it's one of those things where, you know, if you can add in, hey, I'm going to do this, this, and this. There's some really fancy CRMs out there that'll actually kind of keep track of things and back up as AI continues to get more and more integrated into our space. I definitely think that it's important that you're exploring some of those technologies so that you can go, heck, I've added these 4 people on my list, right? And here's 10 more that are similar to them with employee size of this, that are in the same region that you like, right? And so those are things that I think are really important to add into here. Just touches, equipment, notes.
Let's do this. Let's pull up eCarrierCheck, and if there's anything that we find on here, we could add to it, right? Yeah. So let's just do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. For those of you that haven't seen eCarrierCheck, this is what you're going to be looking at when you're looking at shipper leads. Okay. So we had our pipeline. We had, you know, company name, websites, previous action, you know, phone number, email, title, things like that. You know, here's all these wonderful leads, right? Anything that you would think that is important to be adding, you know, we could pull, right?
Yeah, I think what's interesting about what you're seeing here is, I mean, a few things. Obviously, we show you locations in here. We show you product types so you can talk intelligently specific to that industry. If you're not doing your research, you know, at least some kind of research prior. I'm not talking over analyzing things and taking an hour for each call. I'm just talking about, okay, this guy's going to be using flatbeds. Most likely he's going to need tarps because it's water, you know, resistant material or something, you know, to seem like that. So when you get into our leads, what's nice about us is that we show you the equipment, where they're at, locations. We hit you with a prompt from their website. And so, you know, what else would you hit on here? I would definitely hit like phone numbers, or I would put, you know, those emails and even employee accounts.
I was going to say that's a big one. Yeah. We were talking to another user 2 days ago, and he was calling some of the biggest companies. Like, it's just too hard to get in. So I was like, check this out. Let's go to 2 to 50 and maybe even 51 to 200. Just throw it in there. Okay. Yeah. So these types of companies, especially the smaller ones, Jared, you mentioned this, your chances of talking to the decision maker right away are probably pretty high.
Way
he may have his wife answering calls, but your chances are way higher, right? So what's up? Good morning, Chief Ray Holler. How you doing, man? How did was it the barbecue?
Yeah, he was doing like a barbecue festival. I wonder how they won. He sent us pictures of his ribs.
Dude, those ribs look good.
Looked amazing.
Let us know how you did, man.
Kind of curious how that is.
So yeah, this is a super helpful site to at least get that pipeline going. Yeah. these are legit leads.
Oh yeah, they come off bill of ladings.
Exactly. You know, people are always throwing leads in that don't make sense, right? Well, this will help you make it make sense.
Mm-hmm.
These leads will. Now, I'm not saying here's your list of leads and start adding every single lead, but you go through here and you find what makes sense.
Yeah.
You read through the notes, you read through their profile, you see like all the keywords.
Mm-hmm.
Is this something I feel comfortable working?
Yeah.
I think it's all about being comfortable too.
I think so too.
If you call a company that you're like, shit, I don't know how to talk the talk.
Yeah.
Probably take some more time to do some homework.
Yeah.
In my opinion, but
yeah, yesterday we talked with a guy that was making calls kind of throughout the country, brand new to the industry.
Yep.
And what I thought was interesting about him is, you know, he lives in a town of like 150,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, howdy, anyone that's just getting going, if you live in a bigger town, Nate and I live in a tiny town, but if you're in a town of that 75 plus, 25 plus, there are shippers around you.
Mm-hmm.
Go educate yourself. Go have a conversation. Go walk in the door. Get told no. Get thrown out of something. Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Right.
It'll help.
Okay, this is a really good example. I know this isn't pipeline related, but when you do walk into somewhere and you're trying to learn and grow your knowledge, you shouldn't come at it from like a sales approach.
Yeah.
You want us to ask those important questions, right?
Absolutely. I think it's just totally introductory.
Yeah.
If you're walking in, you know, and you don't know who to talk to,
right. Yeah.
which happens a lot,
yeah.
right? It's totally introductory. You're just walking in, offering your services, seeing who makes the decision to actually ship something or transport something, whether it's inbound or outbound,
mm-hmm.
and just see how their business is going.
Mm-hmm.
Genuinely be interested in their business,
right?
And that'll make a difference.
And I think that will actually calm your anxiety, because if you ever if you're not comfortable going into places or making a cold call, I think it really does calm your anxiety knowing, okay, I'm not here to get their business today.
Right.
I just want to know a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then hopefully get a handshake or an email of someone that does make decisions. So
absolutely. They already have somebody in place, right?
Right. Oh, yeah.
And so just walking in and assuming that you're going to get their business is really kind of just terrible thinking. So go in, add some value,
mm-hmm.
tell them that you're right here local.
Mm-hmm.
You can walk in and shake their hand, and if there's an issue, I'm here.
Right.
You know, and that's a different level of commitment, because
mm-hmm.
most people don't even know where their brokers sit. Right. They don't know what they look like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, today's world is so automated that, boy, I like to talk to a human.
Right.
And that continued friction between automation or AI and a human are going to continue to be a little bit, there'll be friction for a while here until we accept things. So this is a great time to be actually making in-person calls, is what I'm saying.
Okay. No trophies this time. Damn it. Next year, man. Next year.
Yeah, just keep jumping at them. Would it be a good idea to contact you like a big shipper that does hazmat like PPG? Would it be a good idea to contact you? No.
You know, like a big shipper that does hazmat. Okay.
The thing is Jerome, is if you think about PPG or any big shippers, it doesn't matter how big they are. If they've got 1,000 employees or more, it's going to take you a while to ring that fish in.
What's PPG? Sorry.
PPG is like I believe they make glass, or I think there's something like that, glass or maybe paint, something like that. So they're going to have different things like that. But the bigger the shipper, the longer your sales cycle. So the more consistency you're going to have in your process. Is it a big deal to contact them? Absolutely not. If you made 25 phone calls today to PPG, would you get the actual person they need to talk to? I don't know. I haven't called them,
mm-hmm.
but it's going to take you a while to get in there. So be willing to understand it's going to be a journey, not just a one-time action, right?
Yeah.
So I think if you're willing to do the consistent work, call the bigger ones.
Right.
Get more sophisticated. Understand when to email, when to phone call, when to show up, things like that, right? So these bigger companies usually have huge processes, divisions, people in there, and you got to meet their insurance needs, and you got to meet, how do they streamline their vendor packages, right? There's all kinds of stuff like that are, everyone thinks I need a big shipper. It'll change my life. It potentially could, yeah. But it's, what are you going to have to sacrifice in order to haul for them? Most likely, if they're huge, their demand for what they get for rates is probably fairly streamlined, fairly cheap, fairly tight, right? I bet PPG has incredible buying power versus, maybe a mid-sized company that has 300 employees versus them who have, tons of employees, right? So just kind of understand, yeah, you could probably get in the door if you're consistent, but you might not like what you see when you get into the kitchen.
Sure. Okay. As a carrier, I don't know if Chief Freight Hauler or Jerome, but how does their pipeline look? As a broker, they probably got 200 something leads in their pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
Now a carrier obviously doesn't have that time to manage that pipeline.
Right.
So do you see their pipelines? All right, let's find 5 shippers that I can contact when I'm not moving loads,
Mm-hmm.
right? How do you envision a carrier pipeline?
Yeah, carrier pipelines are way more complex.
Right.
Brokers are just calling, right? Carrier pipelines are way more complex because there's so much more dimensions to it.
Right.
Okay. Because you have to minimize cost and understand cost.
Right.
At the same time, you need to make sure that you're making money each load, or at least close to making money each load, right? You're going to get yourself in situations. And so my recommendation is to set up a square and local. Your home base is your home base. It's not like I can control my parents. He can't have, Jerome can't have, unless he decides to move, he's where he lives.
Right.
So he needs to exhaust anybody and everybody that's within a 50-mile radius or wherever he's comfortable with that heading, and talk to every single broker and shipper within that area, right? And then from there, he's going to need to pinpoint areas of the country that make the most sense for him to go. Maybe he likes to go to North Carolina. Maybe he likes to go to Louisiana. Maybe he likes to go to Florida, and he's doing this square every week. And it doesn't matter how he gets to that square, but in that square, he's going to have contacts for vendors for tires. He's going to have contacts for vendors for, maintenance shops and mechanics and things like that. So his pipeline, needs to be a lot more complex. It's going to be brokers, direct shippers, potentially load boards, getting freight off of there if he's in a place that nobody's giving him any luck. And then from there, he needs to, how do we control our operational costs? And that's by controlling those maintenance type opportunities. Okay. Because that's when you get, you get a friggin' tow bill in the middle of North Carolina and you don't know anybody. Yeah. There goes $2,300. Right. You know what I mean? Right.
Yeah, so, I'm with Chief Freight Hauler on this.
A lot of complexity.
Yeah, you and Chief Freight Hauler say this quite a bit. Better to have 10 small shippers than one. Yeah, because if you have that one shipper and you're all eggs in all in one basket, I mean, if you lose that company, then you're back to zero.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you. Have 10.
I also like the genuineness of being able to actually build a relationship with small shippers, even mid-sized shippers. Your large ones. I went through, there was one of our bigger clients. We went through like 6 shipping managers because they kept having layoffs. Right. It was just kind of a weird situation. Yeah. Now, did we retain the business? Yeah. Did we lose it for a while? Yeah. You just become a number to them. And so with small shippers, it's good to have, once you get there, and I know we're talking about pipeline, but it's good to have a relationship up and down and left and right. And that's maybe accounting or invoicing on the sides versus VP, manager versus person on the floor that's actually loading the trucks. Okay. Right. So you kind of need to cross multiply that function of having those relationships.
Let's see what the Godfather said here. Jeff Dickinson.
I can't get enough of this guy. Stay in your lane, know your lane, work your contacts at your current client for reach and can read your recommendations. 100%. This is what it's all about.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about recommendations.
Yeah, anytime you can reach out to either two things. If you're a broker, reach out to your carriers and see who should we be working with. Maybe give you more loads, right? Yeah. But stay in your lane and know your lane is probably one of the more interesting things, because this is when it comes down to niches, right? If you know flatbeds and you know the New England area, then stay in New England and work flatbeds, right? Yesterday, the gentleman that we were talking to didn't really know what he wanted to get into. That's totally fine. Yeah. You know what I mean? Sometimes the self-discovery is half the battle with your business, and understanding, you know what, I friggin' love picking up grapefruit. Or, you know what, I'd rather move 80-foot sticks of friggin' rebar. Right. One of the two, right? So I think it's important that you do this, and you just understand that it takes time to build up those blocks.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for being here, man.
I love that he's here. Check out their task force.
Oh, yes.
Honestly, hit Jeff Dickinson up on LinkedIn. But their task force is truly just insane. We had an opportunity to talk to Dale this week, and just loved every second of that man's life from Freight Validate. Shout out there and what they're trying to do to prevent fraud in our industry, because it is rampant.
It is. Yeah.
It's rampant. So check out what they're doing. They're good people.
Oh, for sure. They're working hard too, man. If 1 out of 10 closes, I've got other options. Yeah, 100%, man.
Yeah. Anytime you can avoid being all in your pipeline, where it's, first client. Yeah, you got your first client. Let's go get number 2, so that instead of being 100% of your business, it's 50%.
The only way I recommend, if you go all in, if you're playing blackjack or poker.
I agree. I agree. Push the chips.
Yeah.
Push the chips.
Jared, with your experience and time in this industry, I date you quite a bit, and I apologize.
Thank
you.
He
has gray hair. I know we're on a tiny screen right now, but what are some?
I keep it short.
I got him back. Give us some tips here for the newer brokers, or maybe for those, those vets that are just kind of feel stuck on their pipeline. How do they reset? Give us some tips. For people that just kind of feel stuck, or maybe just new to this industry.
I love this question, because we get so many people that are new. Yeah. First and foremost, just become a sponge. Yeah. Call carriers and start to build your education. Yeah. And that's the number one thing. Call carriers and start to build your education. And you're going to build that by asking them questions about what's working in their business, what's not. You're going to ask them how they're finding clients, how they're not, right? Number 2 is, if you have the ability to go out and make calls, I promise you're going to get an incredible education of, getting told no, and understanding what warehouses do and how those things work like that, right? And number 3 is just keep track of your pipeline. You want to go make 100 calls off Google? Sure. But just write it down. Who did you talk to? When did you talk to them? And put it in a sheet of some sort, and stay consistent, right? Successful people do consistently what most people do occasionally. Okay. That's the line of the day, right? Is that we've got to stay consistent with our follow-ups, with just making phone calls, because eventually somebody's going to be there. And then lastly, I thought this was interesting yesterday talking to that guy, is that I don't know if he was ready for a shipper. His mindset was, well, if I get him on the friggin' line, am I gonna be able to close this thing, right? And so finding yourself a mentor, being mentally ready for a shipper. Did he have a TMS? He didn't even have a TMS, right? And so making sure you're mentally ready for those things. So
yeah, your red tail put it on black. I'm with you.
Exactly.
We'd be best friends, man. Jared, I appreciate your feedback. We're going to meet with those other brokers again today, talk more pipeline stuff. So I'm excited to see what they've added. Their thoughts, feedback. If you guys want to see more shipper leads, send me a picture of you subscribe to eCarrierCheck, and I will personally send you a free trial. And you can take a look into our leads here. So, question: for how many shippers have actually met the broker? Yeah,
it's minimum.
Yeah,
it is so minimum. This is such an interesting point, especially as we're going into this friction world between AI and humans, right? And everything is automated, and the phones are being answered, and all these things, emails are being answered, all this stuff. But what's important right now is just human connection and relationships.
Jeff, thanks again for being here, man. You're always wonderful. You bring wonderful insights. But yeah, if you guys want to trial, send me a picture that you subscribe to eCarrierCheck on YouTube or TikTok. We're on TikTok. I will send you over a free month trial, and if you want to see more leads and meet with us, we're open to doing that. But yeah, thank you guys for being here every week. We'll see you on Friday. It's halfway through the week too, so finish strong. It is hump day, so finish strong, guys. We'll talk later.